They want you arguing about the hand so you don't notice the policy, because that's the game. The media takes a gesture, turns it into a morality panic, and everybody wastes 2 days screaming at each other. Meanwhile, in New York City, they just elected a Democrat socialist mayor, and the actual statements he's making should have every homeowner and every working person paying attention. So today I'm going to show you the double standard. Then we're going to talk about what he said about landlords and the city stepping in, and why this stuff always starts in one big city and then spreads. Let's dive right in.
Dive.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you the exact moment everybody argued about, and then we're going to stop playing that game and look at what actually matters. This is a warning that Elon Musk put out just a couple of days ago. If the radical left wins, the country changes. Floodgates, fraud, not America anymore. You starting to see this? Now, if you agree with him or disagree with him, that's fine. That's not even the point. Here's the point, the reaction. Because the second Elon does a wave like this, you had a bunch of commentators and outlets trying to frame it as something darker. Like we're supposed to believe we didn't just watch a guy wave. Meanwhile, you see Zohran doing the same exact thing. And New York City, there's no outrage there. They just elected a Democratic socialist mayor, Zohran Mamdani. He does a very similar wave. That's your opinion, not mine. And the outrage machine suddenly runs out of batteries. So ask yourself, why is it that one guy's hand gesture becomes a national emergency, but the policies of the other guy don't even get a serious conversation? Because what Mamdani said right after, that's the part that matters.
We will not compromise on housing quality. If your landlord does not responsibly steward your home, city government will step in.
Now listen, words like that sound nice at first. Steward, responsibly. But step in means power. It means the government gets to decide what responsible is, and then they enforce it. And once you accept that logic in housing, what do you think comes next? All right, let's break this down into two parts. The media double standard and the policy direction that should have every homeowner and renter and any resident in New York City paying attention. Because what you're seeing is communism light, socialism light. Just, it's kind of like unsweet tea. It's tea, but then everybody wants to add a little flavor. They want a little more. And that's what you're seeing in New York City. The double standard, you're seeing the news media cover for it by not actually covering it. And nobody really wants to talk about what Zohran Mamdani really has planned, or more importantly, what he represents, or maybe what his background represents. And I found a clip here that explains a lot, brings up a lot of questions, and I'll let you decide.
Zohran Mamdani just swore in on the Quran.
What happened to "In God We Trust"?
Yay, he's so progressive. Super progressive. Let's learn what the Quran says. Per the Quran, men may have up to 4 wives whom they have complete authority over, but women may only have 1 husband.
This whole Me Too movement's gone too far.
Women are not allowed to refuse intimacy with their husbands. And oh, by the way, the Quran actually instructs the husbands to beat their wives for disobedience.
No more "I've got a headache," ladies.
The Quran also establishes a legal inequality between men and women. Women are not treated as equals. They are treated as lesser than.
Is this something you would go along with? Let's say you had a daughter. Would you want your daughter to marry into this? Let's say, I don't know, you were a woman living in New York City and suddenly things changed. Is this something you want? Is this what you voted for? Or did you just go along with the trending thing? Because that's what it seems like.
And liberals, progressives, that's your guy. That's your guy. Do you have any understanding of what it is you are cheering for?
I don't believe that New York City really understands what they're cheering for. I don't think they know what they voted for. I don't think they understand what they've opened the door to. This is almost like inviting Dracula into your house. Once he's inside, you're never going to get him out. There is no way. It is going to be an absolute battle to get rid of this, because now all of the people that would support let's call it a regime like Zohran Mamdani, are going to flood that area. They will keep him in power as long as possible. Something I found that was really funny. Mamdani took over the account for the New York City mayor's office, and some of the old tweets now have his name. And I want you to see this. Today at the UN, I met with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu at a time when much of the world has turned its back on Israel. I remain steadfast in my support of the Jewish state. Israel has a right to defend itself, eliminate Hamas, and bring every single hostage home. Well, I am glad that Zohran is such an adamant supporter of the Jewish state. This is not really, this was Mayor Adams, but they didn't do any housekeeping before they put his name here, and these are hilarious. I want you to look here at the inauguration that took place in New York City. Do you notice a certain flag missing in the background? I've been looking to see where the nearest American flag was, because I don't recognize some of these. But there was an American flag on location. It was just off to the side, tucked out of view. New York City, I don't know if you know what you have done. Here's another image. Another American flag off to the side. Not really on full display like it should be. Not any level of prominence in the background.
I want to talk about how the average American is starting to feel as major corruption is being exposed, especially now with the case in Minnesota and the daycare fraud. This is not just about money being stolen anymore. It's about a growing feeling that being a good citizen, being a hardworking person, paying your taxes may not be worth it. People are starting to feel stupid. They think, well, I'm here, I'm playing by the rules, I am working hard, I'm providing for my family, I'm doing the hard work, and I'm the idiot. You see the memes online and we laugh, like, oh, me on my way to work, thinking that I should have just opened a daycare center in Minnesota and made millions. And again, it is funny, but it's also deeply sad. Because the next thing is, why am I even doing this? And that's the part that no one wants to talk about, because this kind of feeling shapes culture.
Truer words have never been spoken. This lady from Brazil came to America looking for a better life. She thought she left some of the corruption behind, but we're starting to see that it's been happening here for a hell of a long time. The news media, are they complicit? Have they inadvertently hidden some of the things that they should be reporting? I don't know. A lot of people ask me why I have this YouTube channel and why I talk about some of the things I do. I feel like if I didn't, I would have no other place to vent my frustrations. Am I making a difference? I don't know. I want to think that I am. I want to think that I am actually giving some of you information that you didn't have, or maybe presenting it in a different perspective, just from a salty submarine veteran. That's it. That's my whole goal. Here's why I made this video. Not to score points, to get eyes on the pattern. The media decides what you fight about, and it's usually the thing that doesn't matter. Meanwhile, the stuff that actually changes your life, housing, property rights, and the role of government, that gets treated like background noise. So keep your head on a swivel. When you hear phrases like responsibly steward and we'll step in, listen close, because that's how big power shifts get sold as something harmless. If you want part 2, I'm going to lay out exactly how stepping in works, what it looks like in real life, who it hits first, and why working people always end up holding the bag. Hit like if you want more straight talk commentary, subscribe if you're new, and drop a comment. Is this protection or control? All right, I'll see you in the next one.